PR.6 Equations of Lines. Southwestern College, Professor Maria Olivas. PR.6 Equations of Lines. Prerequisite to definition of the derivative. Our next topic in calculus will be the definition of the derivative. This definition will involve limits and is related to the slope of a line, both of which we have already learned or reviewed. There's just one more thing we need to review before we tackle the derivative, and that is write equations of lines given a point and a slope. 1. Writing equations of lines. Recall the formula for finding the slope of a line is m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. I've drawn an arrow pointing to the right from my formula for slope, and now I'm writing it as a proportion. I'm writing m over 1 equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. If we cross multiply, this formula becomes, I will end up with y sub 2 minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Now, if I were to just take off these subscripts of those sub 2's, this is what I would end up with. Point slope form of a line. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. We can distribute and write in slope-intercept form if desired. And slope-intercept form, if you recall, is going to be, I drew an arrow here pointing to the right, and it says y equals mx plus b, and that represents slope-intercept form. This means that to write an equation of a line, we need two things. We need a point and the slope. If we have those, we can use the formula above to write the equation. Example 1. Write an equation of the line whose slope is 3 and that contains the point 2, 5. Well, this gives me two things here. It gives me a point and it gives me the slope. I'm going to draw a cloud around the part that says slope is 3, and I'm going to label my ordered pair, the x-coordinate with an x sub 1, and I'm going to label the y-coordinate with a y sub 1. I'm going to write down point slope form. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. Below that, I'm going to write y minus 5 equals 3 times the quantity x minus 2, and I'm going to box that in. So this does represent our equation. It represents our equation of the line in point slope form, so that's why I'm going to write down the words point slope form right beneath the equation. Now I'm going to draw a vertical line segment here. To the right-hand side of this vertical line segment, I'm going to show you how to rewrite this point slope form into slope-intercept form. So I'm just going to copy my equation down of y minus 5 equals 3 times the quantity x minus 2. I'm going to distribute the 3, so I've drawn arrows pointing from the 3 to the terms of x and the negative 2. So I end up with y minus 5 equals 3x minus 6. I'm going to add 5 to both sides of the equal sign. And I'll be left with y equals 3x minus 1. I'm going to box that answer in. This represents the equation of the line with slope 3, and it contains the point 2, 5. But this equation is in slope-intercept form. And I've written those words to the right-hand side of this equation with an arrow pointing towards this equation. Example 2. Write an equation of the line whose slope is negative 3/4 that contains the point negative 4, 3. I have labeled my ordered pair, the x-coordinate with x sub 1 and the y-coordinate with y sub 1. I have written down point slope form, which is y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. Then we have y minus 3 equals negative 3/4 times the quantity x minus negative 4. I'm going to simplify that minus a negative part into just writing it as a plus. So it'll be y minus 3 equals negative 3/4 times the quantity x plus 4. And I'm going to box this answer in. Once again, this represents my answer in point-slope form. If you want to write this answer in slope-intercept form, we could do that as well. We would just need to make sure we distribute that negative 3/4. Let me draw a vertical line segment here, separating the work that I did here for point-slope form and what I'm going to do for slope-intercept form on the right-hand side of the vertical line segment. I'm going to recopy my point-slope form. Y minus 3 equals negative 3/4 times the quantity x plus 4. I'm going to draw arrows from the negative 3/4 to the terms x and 4 to show that I'm distributing. Then I have y minus 3 equals negative 3/4 x minus 12/4. Now I'm going to go ahead and write y minus 3 equals negative 3/4 x minus 3. Now I can add 3 to both sides of my equal sign, and this will leave me with, I canceled out my 3's on the left hand side, and I'm left with y equals negative 3/4 x plus 0, because once again negative 3 plus 3, that zeroes out. So my answer is just going to be y equals negative 3/4 x, and I'm going to box that answer in. That is my answer in slope-intercept form, and that's why I'm writing down those words to the right hand side of this equation with an arrow pointing towards the equation. Example 2. Oh, I've got two example 2's here. This should have been example 3. Example 3. And I've gone ahead and I wrote over the 2. I wrote example 3, so that way there's no confusion. Write an equation of the line that passes through 1, 3 and 4, 9. The first thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to find the slope here. I've got 2 points, so I don't need to worry about finding a point because I have 2 different points, but I don't have the slope. I'm going to label each one of these coordinates in the point with their corresponding x or y, whether I'm going to use x of 1 or y sub 1. X sub 2 or y sub 2. So for 1, 3, I've labeled the x coordinate, the 1, with an x sub 1. The y coordinate of 3, I've labeled that with y sub 1. The next ordered pair, 4, 9, the 4, I labeled that with an x sub 2. And the y coordinate, the 9, I've labeled that with a y sub 2. Now I'm substituting into slope formula, which is m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. This will be equal to 9 minus 3 over 4 minus 1 equals 6 divided by 3, which is equal to 2. So therefore my m is equal to 2, that's my slope. And then I get to choose either one of the 2 ordered pairs that I was given earlier to use in my point slope form. I'm just going to go ahead and use 1, 3, because that one already has labeled the x sub 1 and the y sub 1. So point slope form is y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. So my equation will be y minus 3 equals 2 times the quantity x minus 1. And we're going to box that in. I've drawn a vertical line segment to separate the work from the left and the right. On the right hand side, I'm going to write point slope form, y minus 3 equals 2 times the quantity x minus 1. I've drawn arrows coming from the 2 to show that I'm distributing the 2 to the x and then to the minus 1. And then we're going to have y minus 3 equals 2x minus 2. And then I'm going to add 3 to both sides, and this will leave me with y equals 2x plus 1. And we will box that answer in. So here it says example 6, but this is really example 4. Example 4, and I've gone ahead and I wrote over the 6, I wrote the number 4. Write an equation of a horizontal line that passes through the point 5, 3. I'm going to go ahead and draw pictures of this. I'm going to draw a picture of a coordinate plane, and I'm going to plot the point 5, 3 on there, and I'm going to make sure that I draw a horizontal line that passes through that point. So I've labeled my ordered pair with my x and my y, so I know which value represents which variable here. I've circled the y because the y equal to 3, that's going to be basically my equation, because whenever I have a horizontal line, it's going to be of the form y equals a constant. So once again, I said I was going to draw a coordinate plane on the left-hand side here. On the x-axis, I went from 0 to 5 by a scale of 1. On the y-axis, I went from 0 to 3 by a scale of 1. I plotted my point at 5, 3, and I went ahead and labeled that ordered pair with its corresponding ordered pair with that point. And I've drawn a line extending through it, a horizontal line, extending all the way to the ends of the graph. And I drew arrows on the ends, and I've labeled the equation of that line with y equal to 3. So my answer here is going to be y equals 3. Every horizontal line is going to look of this form. Now, let's say you forgot that it was y equal to 3. There is a way you could find this, since you know the slope is 0 and you have a point. There is a way to find this using your point slope form. I'm going to write down a y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. And then I'm going to substitute. I'm going to have y minus 3 equals 0 times the quantity x minus 5. Now I'm going to distribute that 0, so that's going to give me y minus 3 equals 0. Add 3 to both sides, and I get y equals 3. And that's my equation. That's what I was looking for. And we are going to box that answer in. Example 7. But in reality, this is example 5. So I'm going to write a 5 over the 7. Write an equation of a vertical line that passes through the point 5, 3. So once again, I think the best way to do this is to draw a coordinate plane, which is what I'm doing. And then you're going to want to go on the x-axis. I'm going to go from 0 to 5 by a scale of 1. And on the y-axis, we're going to go 0 to 3 by a scale of 1. I'm going to draw my ordered pair there, and I'm going to draw a vertical line going through my ordered pair 5, 3. The vertical line is a line that extends all the way to the ends of the graph. It's got arrows on the ends, and it's got my ordered pair 5, 3. Because this is a vertical line, the slope is going to be equal to undefined. Because it's undefined, there's really no other way of getting this other than memorizing that the fact that this is a vertical line, it's going to be of the form x equal to 5. Try to remember, whenever you have x equal to a constant, that's going to be a vertical line. So our final answer for that problem is going to be x equal to 5, and we're going to box that equation in. Summary. A line can be written in many forms. 1. Standard form, which is going to be ax plus by equals c. And you could have 2, slope-intercept form of a line. This is y equals mx plus b. 3, point slope form of a line. That's going to be y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. And number 4, our special cases. That's going to be like our horizontal or our vertical lines. So for a horizontal line, I'm going to write down the words horizontal line. And then underneath that, I'm going to give you an example. So something that looks like this, y equal to a, where a is a constant, a is any real number there. And then the second case would be vertical line, x equal to b. So once again, x equal to b, where b is basically any real number there. That's going to be a vertical line.